So we talked about communication and we all want to be better at it, right? That's why we're here. So Sharon has created something very special. It's called the Executive Presence Dashboard. And we're going to explore that a little bit with her today. But before we do that, I want to ask, when I sort of said this earlier, when I mentioned this idea about executive presence and what does that mean? It can be controversial, whatever. Talk to us about what do you think is the backbone of presence? What makes a person have presence or lack presence? And then let's dig into your special tool.
And I'll tell you, the first time I heard of it, if you all are local, you might remember my work wife, Melanie Sanders. We did the 5 o'clock news for years. I see a couple of people nodding. This was about 10 years ago, and she was moderating a panel at a women's conference that we were both speaking at. And I'm sitting in the audience, and the lady sitting next to me says, "Oh, do you know Melanie?" I said, "Yes, she's one of my besties. She's my former co-anchor, my work wife." And she says, "Wow, she just has so much executive presence." And I was like, "Oh, do tell, because whatever that is, I want to be called that. How do I get that?"
Yep.
And
Yep.
that started this journey of exploring, well, what exactly is executive presence and who decides you have it or you don't? And that's where we started this entire research project. So here's what Melanie and I discovered about executive presence. There are 3 pillars that make it up: gravitas, communication, and appearance. And when they did a survey a number of years ago with a group of 270 CEOs, on paper, if you have 2 candidates who are up for the promotion, how do you decide which one, if they have the same talent and skill set and experience?
Mm-hmm.
These CEOs said 26% of their decision why they chose this person over this person is that first person had more executive presence.
Yeah.
Because you got to look and act the role. It's got to be more than what's just between the ears. So this executive presence dashboard is a 19-dimension assessment that gives a clearer, more honest picture of how you're showing up in rooms and where those gaps might be. Everything from first impressions to body language to storytelling ability to how you're aligning with your own company brand or your own mission. And so this tool gives you some powerful data that you can then act on. And the nice news is all of you are going to get access to this dashboard, which is not public anywhere else. I'm giving you all the back door to it today. So here is, when you come to the landing page on the website, this is what you'll see. The presence is your power. When you go to the landing page, you'll go here and then you'll click on it. This is the actual dashboard once you're in there. So you'll have your trusted advisor, peer, coach, whomever, start putting in the scores, and then the scores automatically aggregate to what you see up here. You'll see your score. It's broken down into categories: first impression and presence, communication and messaging, engagement and delivery, nonverbal communication, and then your brand and leadership alignment. You're going to find the 1 or 2 places where you have the lowest score, and you're going to deliberately work on those things for the next 90 days. And then you're going to ask your trusted advisor to do the dashboard again. Where the real sauce is, we're going to go deeper with third-party focus groups. These are unbiased communication experts that we have vetted to evaluate you every 90 days over the course of a year. And they don't know you. And that's the thing that's important here. Because if you have your executive coach or a trusted colleague doing the scoring for you, there's an unconscious connection that you all have. You can't get that first impression score that someone who's never met you can give you. So this is an example, this is an actual real example of a client. The first scoring happened back in January. The second scoring happened in June. You can see where the growth has happened, the metrics that improved, the sections that improved. And then we break it down further where you look and see exactly where all of the scoring happens. So this was the January score. And then look what happens with after that initial baseline. Look, 4.99, so lots of growth area. But by June, this client is up to 6.33.